So it has been a year since the pandemic attacked our world, and we have seen various shifts in the way business and organizations operate. So in this presentation, we will be explaining on the impact of COVID-19 to Omela Corporation and our analysis about the company. Omela was incorporated in 1995. The name of Omela stands for Orang Melayu because the internal stakeholders originally consist of 100% Bumiputras, which is an initiative to provide work and opportunities and platforms for fellow Bumiputras. Their main activities consist of domestic and industrial wiring, assembly and maintenance of electrical substation, high tension installation and maintenance, street lighting, building construction and maintenance. Currently, their two mains as well as long-time customers are Tenaga Nasional Berhad (TNB) and Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad (MAHB). Their main office is located in Rawang, where all the top management and managerial staff are there. They have two on-site teams which are in Rawang for TNB and in Banting for MAHB. So now we will proceed with the impact and challenges faced by Omela during this pandemic. So financially, Omela struggles in the delayed payment both from their customer and to their vendor, and due to that, they had to survive based on their overdraft. There was also an increase in the capital expenditure due to purchase of a new machine. In the customer area, Omela having a hard time reaching to their customer since most of them were working from home, and Omela need to take longer time to communicate with their customer, as the only way was through emails and phone calls. However, there is no shortfall in demand as their expertise is considered as essential service. For technology, communication was the challenge for Omela. Bills and statements are still sent through couriers which arrive long after due to the office. Omela also faced difficulties in familiarizing with their clients' online application. And other than that, Omela, due to their traditional accounting system, their employees need to update their work manually in the office once per week. For the supply chain, there's not much of a problem as Omela originally varied their supplies, so they will have a backup. However, there's this one particular supplier that kept on holding the supplies to make sure that Omela's payment was up to date. In terms of people, Omela had trouble renewing the permit for their foreign workers, and this is because permit renewal was put on hold by the immigration. They also need to slightly halt their operation since they need to reorganize their operation system and align them with the government SOPs. There were also changes of staff, but not due to the employee getting laid off, but due to resignation, where staff going back to their hometown and not able to come back due to closing of borders.
My name is Nur Aina Nashuha, and I will proceed with the changes made by Omela Corporations Sendian Berhad. Firstly, in terms of financial, Omela struggles with delay payment from their customer and also from their vendor. So for the vendor, they negotiated for some flexibility, and for the customer, Omela did it in stages. So the first stage, Omela will send a monthly reminder together with the statement and also highlighted payments that were 3 months due. And after 6 months due, Omela will email to the account manager for the payment update. And after in an adequate response from their account manager, Omela Managing Director will directly approach the customer CFO, including their account manager. And Omela also applied for a loan as they were trying to buy another machine for their next project. Also, Omela went for an overdraft as a contingency and also granted a moratorium since they still have a few higher purchase and also lease financing. Omela also applied for SOCSO, which is Program Subsidi Upah PSU, so that they could pay their employees. And all of these changes that were made by the Omela. Next is technology. Since Omela needs to use their clients' online portal and it's continuously changing, so Omela will have their employees to go for tutorial or seminar on how to use the online portal and run a test since it was a newly made application. This is to make sure that Omela can access their clients' portal with ease and without problem. In terms of people, Omela registered with the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, MITI, so that their employees will be able to work during MCO without any problem. For permit renewal issue, Omela applied for a release letter from the agency confirming that their foreign passport and permit was in the possession of the immigration so that they would be able to work. Omela also provide a panel clinic and also increase the allowance for their foreign workers as financial aid during this pandemic. So this effort was done to take care of the well-being and also welfare of their employees. Other than that, Omela makes sure that there are newcomers to register for swab tests and also for the staff that were returning from other states to be quarantined and follow the guidelines by the government. As for future plans, Omela are still in discussion to acquire a new machine for their grass cutting project. So this machine is to minimize their labor workers and also cut costs as the machine can do twice the workers. This could also reduce the amount of employees at one site, which is to minimize the risk of COVID-19 and transfer them to other future projects instead. So Omela will have a better labor management and can operate more efficiently with buying this new machine.
Okay, so next we continue to analysis. In this analysis, we analyze the company based on 5 critical business areas impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So the 5 critical business areas are financial, customer, technology, supply chain, and people. So the first one is financial business area. The company were facing some financial difficulties as their main customer is an airline industry which negatively impacted by the pandemic. Hence, it results to the decrease in their projected revenue. Also, they had an issue of delayed payment from the customer. So, encountering the delayed payment from customer, they ensure the customer to pay faster in stages. However, this process is not quite efficient by the company as despite the pressure they put on the customer to pay faster, the customer still pay overdue. And then because of these factors, the company also delay the payment to vendors. However, because of the connection between them and the vendors are mostly contract-based and long-time vendors, they were provided flexibility in the payment. The next issue is they bought a new machine from Amsterdam just right before the first MCO due to extension of contract with Malaysia Airport Holding Berhad. It shows that the company failed to foresee the situation of the industry. Thus, return on capital investment of that machine is low because of the unutilized usage on the machine. The next one is Omela has survived the financial difficulties based on their overdraft, moratorium, and government subsidy. For the overdraft, it is a good action from the company as advantage of overdraft are it is quick to be arranged and it is flexible on the amount we borrow at a time that we need, which may make it cheaper than loan. For instance, banks in Malaysia have exercised restructure for the financing and loans such as overdraft. Is so to enable the customer to improve their cash flow and overcome financial difficulties during the pandemic. For the granted moratorium, their credit score will not be affected during the moratorium period, which is good. As moratorium is part of the initiative that have been introduced by banking institutions to offer relief to customers due to COVID-19. Hence, the moratorium granted could lessen the burden for Omela's financial difficulties. In addition, they apply for SOCSO PSU. SOCSO PSU, which offered by the government, and send their on-site staff for the free swab test. As the unemployment rate increased drastically during the pandemic, instead of firing the employees because of the inability of paying the salary during MCO, they took advantage of the financial aid from the government, which indirectly increased the loyalty of the workers in the company. Okay, next for customer business area, Omela Corporations dan Berhad had only some issues with the customers. First, difficulties in reaching their clients since most of them were working from home. Despite the issues, Omela Corporations dan Berhad able to maintain their relationship with customers. It is because they keep in touch with the customer through calls, email if there are any inquiries. By doing this, the good and strong relationship between the company and customer hardly will be severed. Second one, in terms of demand from customers, this company did not face any difficulty as its expertise is considered as essential service. COVID-19 impacts the company in a positive way, which they have new opportunities such as the installation of Sinis Guard for airports all over Malaysia from the Malaysian airport holding Berhad. So the demand for their service is still steady despite the situation. In terms of maintaining and attracting customers during and after COVID-19, Omela Corporations dan Berhad is having a stable portfolio for the tenders and project received from the contractor. It is good to have a stable portfolio at the station as to reduce the overall risk. By having a stable portfolio as well as a good credit standing, it surely will attract more customers to have a business with the company during the current situation and also in the future.
Now we move on to the technology analysis. Omela faces challenges in technology amid the pandemic. Communications with clients was done in a very formal way through emails, as most of company needed to work from home. Staying in touch with clients and suppliers is inefficient because it would take longer time to be responded due to high volume. They need to email their client frequently from time to time. This process consumes a lot of time and energy, which could affect business operation. Next, it is discovered that accountants were able to work remotely from home. However, they need to manually update their data in the system at office once a week. This poor and out-of-date accounting system would affect the work efficiency. Next, it should be noted that Omela actively used online portal systems such as Procure Here and TNB new online portal system. This complex software would ensure data stored more systematically and secure. However, it is more costly and time-consuming because Omela need to train their staff and run tests on the newly application. From the supply chain perspective, it was discovered that Omela did not face much difficulties. This is because of their good business strategy, which is they have various suppliers. They could easily shift to another suppliers that offer the same quality of product. However, a minor issue is that their supplies was kept on hold by a supplier. This is because the supplier needed assurance that Omela had made all payments up to date. This shows that Omela is still lacking in maintaining good relationship with suppliers, as they couldn't reassure them payments and always kept them updated. This would lead to delay in supplies that would cause the completion of project drag out. Moving on to the people element. Based on the information gathered, Omela slightly impacted by the pandemic. This is because they successfully adapted to the guidelines and SOP imposed by the government. For instance, they apply a release letter from foreign employee agencies and register with MITI to work during MCO. This shows that Omela is committed in remaining competitive in the market. However, only accountants could work remotely from home. Plus, the accountants were burdened by the poor technical and connectivity support from Omela. This shows that Omela is unable to ensure desired working environment and fair treatment towards employees. Next, there is no proper education and guideline made specifically for the employees. As a result, they did face some difficulties ensuring their employees adhere to the guidelines because of the poor communication within the company. Next, the analysis of Omela Corporations Sdn Bhd future plans. Acquiring new machines for their grass cutting project would surely benefit them. With the current pandemic, use of machines would reduce manual labor that helps in reducing the risk of COVID-19 spread. This would also promote efficiency and efficacy that will make up for the undesired disruptions of labor system. Although acquiring new machines will incur a high cost in the short run, it would definitely be a good investment for the long run.
My name is Ain Atia Azmi. Based on the analysis, we conclude that Omela has a good crisis management strategy. To improve their efforts, we come up with these recommendations. In terms of financial, Omela should strengthen its working capital. We recommend that Omela ensure its current assets exceed current liabilities. This can be done by controlling the receivables and payables. Firstly, Omela must shorten its credit period. This can be achieved by giving incentives for customers' early payments, by giving them attractive discounts on faster payments. Other than this, Omela can speed up sales and delivery cycle by completing construction projects more quickly so they will get payment faster. They can also implement electronic invoicing so that purchase orders can be automatically converted into invoice. When customers receive an invoice earlier, Omela can get paid sooner. Secondly, Omela should lengthen the time taken for payment of debt to vendors. This requires excellent negotiation of payment terms with vendors. Omela needs to come up with a proposition that is mutually beneficial. However, Omela needs to have backup vendors in case that the negotiations fail, so they won't face a shortage in supplies. For the customer aspect, since Omela cannot communicate with its customers directly, emails, calls, and text messages are the best option. We recommend for Omela to mark the email as urgent or set the message as highly important so the clients know the message needs urgent attention. Also, they can ask to keep a personal contact number of clients that are easily reached for work from home purposes and in case their emails are already flooded. For technology, Omela needs the outbound cloud synchronization so that the workers, specifically the accounting personnel, do not need to manually update the data into the server in the company's computer once a week. We suggest that Omela replace its legacy system of manual accounting and adopt an accounting software such as QuickBooks. This enables the personnel to work from anywhere across any devices with real-time update in the system. With work-from-home arrangements, this can be more convenient. For the supply chain, Omela needs a strict adherence to its project plans. In Omela's case, their end services are considered as essential and thus operations need to be resumed as normally but are restricted to government safety policies. While continuing the ongoing projects, supplies must be available within the time frame to avoid dragging the completion phase. Thus, Omela must ensure swift payment to suppliers and renegotiate terms when needed. There might also be suppliers struggling financially. Therefore, Omela have to prioritize payment to them to ensure their continuation in the business so that they will not lose a supply source. Last but not least, for the people aspect, since Omela has foreign workers who may not be familiar with local guidelines, the company needs to properly educate them on COVID-19 signs and symptoms. Employees must follow strict hygiene procedures. Furthermore, SOP should also be enforced on employee living arrangements, especially for foreign workers' accommodation. Any workers under quarantine or isolation who have been diagnosed with COVID-19 or are showing signs and symptoms of COVID-19 need to be physically separated from the other workers.